to me. And not like you should expect life to be fair, but like if I'm really busy one evening, me not getting my homework done isn't because I didn't care. It might just be because I had a bunch of other stuff that night. Like Wednesday nights were always ridiculously busy when I was a kid. There was dinner at church, and then there was my Boy Scout troop meeting, and like it was always just real busy. So we have 2 days after every homework, so 712 assigned today, technically assigned today, even though we kind of started the lesson on Friday. It's due on Wednesday. We might get into 713 today because we're already partly done with 712. We'll see what happens, but this is when our homeworks will be due. Yes, you either need to rip them apart or turn them all in tomorrow. Right? Which you might be ready to turn them all in tomorrow. If you're ready to turn them all in tomorrow, that's fine. I don't care. Turn them all in. But if you're not, rip them apart and just give me one at a time.
Why don't you want that?
You need out the graph from Friday that we were using to deal with all this scatterplot data that they had given us. Amelia? We can. I would love to take questions from that.
Yeah, I was my big brain needs some processing.
All right, here are our answers for 711. Amelia? 7, 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. Right? So after. Never mind. Math 8.
No, not again. He was close. My binder's broken.
Max, I have extra binders if you need a new binder later.
Oh, thank God.
All right, so 7, 8. Hey, Max, bring it back together. Okay, you can deal with your binder issue while I go ahead and go over homework problems.
I need to do the homework problem.
Well, then get your butt in gear and get the homework out. Using percentages. That's the biggest thing. And with using percentages, even though it's not like intentional that this is similar to what Math 7 is doing right now, that's not like on purpose, that's coincidental. Percentages always require that we know the total. So the first thing we're going to do here is total up our values. You got the total?
Yeah, 240.
240?
No.
So then, and I'm actually just going to add like a little column right here to say what percent, because I can organize my data kind of easily like that. So if I add a column over here, except my hole punch will get in the way. To figure out percent, I'm going to do part divided by whole. So 90 divided by 240, 0.375, which is really 37.5%. 30 divided by 240 is really 12.5%. 75 divided by 240 is 31.25%. And 45 divided by 240 is about 19%. If you want to be particular, it's 18.75. And all of these are percentages. So then, when we go to make our circle graph, we know 31% is just under a third. So if you kind of think of a third of the circle being there, we can go a little bit smaller than that and have our ride in the car.
Then bus would be like right above.
Bus is a little bigger than a third, right? So again, if I imagine a third and just kind of make it a little bit bigger than what it would have been as a third. So 37.5 for bus. And then 18% and 12%, really 19% and 12.5. So one's going to be smaller, one's going to be bigger. If I imagine splitting this in half, and then I favor on one side. Yours doesn't have to look just like mine, but it should look similar. And third, no, 18.75. And then 12.5%. Does that all make sense, Amelia? Yep. So the biggest thing is the graph asks you to show the results of the survey using percentages. So we wouldn't want to just write in the number of people. We would want to write in the corresponding percents. Other questions? Connor. Or Patrick. Look, you guys are both wearing hats. They both have a letter on the front of them. You're both wearing black hoodies. I could keep the similarities going, but...
Is that small? Is that orange?
I kind of take the final percent into thirds, so I rounded them.
Don't say that.
What do you mean you changed them into thirds?
Like 30, I calculated it a different way.
Hey, friends! I don't know if we forgot how school works, but we have a question from one of your classmates that probably relates to what you're doing, and I hear side conversations that are completely unrelated. Let's refocus. Sorry, Patrick, what?
I calculated a different way, and I got thirds. I got 37.3 repeating.
Yeah, you did something wrong then. Sorry, check your total. I have a feeling your total might be off. Your percents should be exactly what I got, because this is mathematical. There's no approximate about this.
I divided the numbers by 240 and multiplied them by 360.
You're finding... Okay, so if we do this divided by that, right, for our bus, this is the decimal value of the percent. Then, if you multiply that by 360, that is how many degrees it should be. But that's degrees, like how open. So if we look at how big the angle right here is, that would be 135 degrees. But what they asked us is to show our results using the percent values, which would be like 37.5%.
Yeah, that's right.
So you need to go back and just stop at the percent step and not do a multiplication by 360.
Wait, so if you were to,
Sorry, it did the multiplication again because I hit enter again. What, Jake?
if you were to, 90 divided by 240 is 0.375, then what would you times by?
100. If you want to get it back to percent form.
Okay.
And that's up on the board also. Coincidental that Math 7's doing the same thing. Dry erase board.
Oh.
You look over on the dry erase board. It's the thing all the way to the left. No. It's the thing in the middle. It's the stuff written in green. Other questions from the homework? Brenda.
I just want to make sure I'm correct on 7, 9. It is x equals 1.3 repeating minus 160y, right?
Yeah, or fractions are better.
Okay, I didn't know because
So,
of weird numbers. So
8
am I right?
Yeah, 8/6 can reduce to 4/3, but if you make it a decimal, yeah, that's 1.3 repeating. But that's where fractions are better.
Gotcha, thank you.
It's not right versus wrong, but they are better. Like fractions are better.
That's helpful.
Questions. Max, you only have until we finish questions to get that stuff back in the binder before I make you switch back to math. Jake.
I don't really have a choice.
Oh, yeah, you do. You always have a choice.
Well, yeah, but I can't always do this fast.
Oh, yeah, you can. Or you can do it later.
How can you find the? How can you find the solutions for 7.9 or 7.9?
Did you read the directions? Shh, hold up. We're gonna let Jake do this. Read the directions for all of us, Jake.
Solve each equation below for the indicated variable.
So when you bring yourself to class and look at the answer key to figure out what makes sense or doesn't make sense to you, and we look at these answers, are our answers coming down to a single, well, in C it comes down to a single number, but in A and B, are they coming down to a single number?
No.
No, we're just trying to isolate the variable. So, since they want us to solve for y here, we're working to isolate this y. So use algebra to get rid of everything else from that left-hand side.
Oh.
How do you get rid of a positive 4x?
Minus 4x.
How do you get rid of a negative 2?
Plus 2.
You know what to do.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome. I didn't help you. I just asked you questions, but you're welcome.
Thank you for asking the right questions.
It's all about teaching you guys how to ask yourself those questions. Max, what you need is a bigger binder. So, like, one of the other reasons I want you to only put so much effort into that is we're going to get you a different binder. Either after class or during extensions or tomorrow or whatever.
Can I do it for extensions today?
Talk to your advisor. I've got extra binders, but talk to your advisor. Talk to your advisor. Talk to your advisor. I've got binders for you, but as long as she's cool with it. All right. Last chance for questions. Going once?
Let me just. What about 712? It's just skipped. Yeah.
Did I make 712? I maybe did 712 on my own.
Oh yeah. That makes sense. You made Harry Potter. That's not very. It's obviously Harry Potter. It's obviously not.
712? Aren't we talking about lions?
Yeah, and Brian can read 45 pages an hour, and at that rate, how long will it take him to read a new 700 pages Harry Potter book?
Yeah, you haven't heard about Terry Cotter and Fogwarts Academy
Oh,
they go to? And
Yeah.
all the...
I just forgot about that.
All right, moving on to our lesson. What? Colin. I'm trying to hear you, but I can't. What's your question? Because you said, wait. I know. They're not up there. If you can't solve them, come see me, but we should know how to work proportions at this point. I'm not going to just give you the answer for them. So yeah, 712 is one of those problems where you got to have it done on your own or come see me. Because at this point, we should know how to work proportions.
I'm pretty dumb.
Sure. Nope. Fine. So, a lot of times when we deal with problems like this, some of it is our personal preference, but most of the time, it comes down to independent and dependent. So our reminder for that is we're asking what depends on what. So what they're trying to find is, does the depth of seed in each pot impact or affect, right, the plant height? So what they're asking is, will height depend on planting depth? So if they're asking, the question they are asking, guys, this is on 713, if you want to go look at this real quick. The question they're actually asking is, does height depend on depth? Because we can control the depth. What we're trying to research is, will the height of the plant be different depending on how deep we plant the seed? And I think, well, duh, like it would start lower, but if it gets a better root system, it might end up being a stronger plant.
Well,
Right.
not obviously from the data.
Well, I don't know. I haven't done this problem yet, so don't say obviously.
Well, I'm
That's like
looking at it
saying
right
the E word. Obviously is a dangerous word too. It can very much be used the same way. When you tell somebody, oh, that's so obvious, it's pretty much an insult. It's pretty much saying, you stupid. Nah, I mean, I don't know. I don't say obvious very often because I catch myself on that. Max?
Back it up. I'm confused.
About?
Oh my god,
Okay. I don't know. Like, what is this about? I just kind
That you don't know this because Anna's in the future. You're fine. This is why I don't take future questions, because then people are like, wait, what the heck happened? This is tomorrow's homework.
It is?
Anna's being Anna.
Wait, no, is it?
This is Thursday's homework.
This is Thursday. No, tomorrow.
It's
Quit
due-
trying to tell me I'm
No,
wrong.
it's due Thursday.
Yeah, but it's tomorrow's homework.
Yeah, do it Thursday. Good idea. I just thought it
I forget what thing was first, but then it was you trying to tell me how the walls work, and that I didn't know what I was talking about. Now you're telling me I don't know what I'm talking about with our homework. All right, you should have an XY axis from Friday that looks like this, that we all together. Now you don't have a handout because I wanted you guys to practice making axes and making your graph. We scaled the x-axis by 5s. Sorry, I'm trying to get it to focus. We scaled the x-axis by 5s. We went up to 100. We scaled the y-axis by 2s. And I think also went up to 100, didn't we? No, we went up to 60.
On the opposite.
Yeah, you put it.
What?
See, it went up to 60 and by 5 of the y value, then over to the 100 on
No. I said that right, but if you heard it wrong, we need to talk about that. So I have written down what we drew from last week, so let me get to there.
Yeah, that's
a bunch of random points.
So this.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, guys. This goes by 2s because every box is 2. Not that we only labeled every 5 boxes. So guys, when we speak in math, we got to make sure that we hear it correctly.
or does it make sense?
So all my people that look like you're not paying attention, this is where I get worried. It actually wasn't Max that I was staring at that time. Make sure we hear this correctly. The y-axis goes by 2s, like it counts by, right? The x-axis goes by 5s. And we said this axis was the miles on the car, right? That we then talked about. That thing is called the odometer, the thing that keeps track of your miles on the car.
Right, 1,000.
And it's by thousands of miles because it'd be silly if we didn't write it by thousands because we'd be writing a bunch of extra zeros, right? So we do that a lot instead of writing a bunch of extra zeros. And then your y-axis was price in thousands. We copied down, well, actually, I don't know if you copied this down. You guys might have just graphed the points. But if you are still, I don't know why I did that. If you're still working on plotting these points, because I know we ran out of time last week, finish plotting these points. If you're still plotting these points, if you're done, go ahead and talk with a neighbor about what you kind of observe or notice. The whole XY? Yeah, right here. Here, actually, I'll do this to make your life easier. I prepared for this. Here you go.
How many things are there?
10, I believe.
Yep.
If you wanted to make like an exact one, all of these follow the line except for so it's like this is thousands. Well, I guess like it's cars on the side, like on country roads. For 10,000. Well, here we got like a 8,000 car that's got almost 4,000 miles.
I think there's only 9 data points. Yeah, I think you only end up with 9 points.
Yeah, 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I know you'd all be disappointed if we started a Monday with no random cards. All right, so even if you're still working on graphing this, that's fine. Here's what I want you to talk about as groups. I need to figure out the name. Sorry, I got to remember the name of the student. You know, the quote-unquote student. Well, that's not what I wanted you to do. Come back. Melissa looked at those two lists. It's a fake student. Also, I like when the name is not anyone at Phoenix. So Melissa looked at those two lists, and the teacher in Melissa's class just said graph. Right? Graph the data. So Melissa is a big fan of box and whisker plots. So Melissa does this. So, let's start here. Maddie, can you remind us of how box and whisker plots are set up? Like how she did that?
So, the middle one, is
The middle one is the median. Yeah, which means middle of a set of data.
And then the one next to it are like the first quartile and third quartile, like
Yeah, over here.
yeah.
So first, second, third, fourth, right? So she's saying second and third are right here. What does I'm going to move on to somebody else. Aiden, what do quartiles mean? If each of these sections is a quartile.
Quartiles are like essentially 25% median
Yeah.
of the area that median is in the middle of.
Yeah. So Gus, don't do what you just did. That's like saying Will Smith dies in the movie. When I specifically ask somebody a question, please don't try to answer it under your breath and hope that, like, oh, Mr. Hudson won't hear, but I'm helping. That you're not helping anyone. Do not answer questions for other people. Thank you very much.
Quartile of a quartile and then a quartile of that quartile. And then you can keep going.
You could quartiles, assuming you have enough data. So each section of that graph has 25% of our data. Connor, is this useful?
It can be.
Yeah, it depends what you're looking for. If it's for like median and quartile, you're looking for like.
So do we remember what question? I think it was Nathan was his name. Do we remember what question he's trying to answer?
Oh yeah, it was does how many miles it can go affect the cost?
So Nate is wondering, I'm going to clear this ink just to make life easy. Nate and Rick are discussing cars. Nate claimed that cars with lower odometer readings were more expensive than cars. So cars with lower miles cost more, is what he's saying, versus cars with higher miles cost less. So are the box and whisker plots that Melissa set up helpful for us to figure out this answer? Max, you got your hand up.
It was for a really different thing, but I will answer the question. No.
Why are these not useful?
Well, they could be.
Well, now you're flip-flopping, so hold on. I'm going to jump over to some.
Wait.
Hold on, we'll come back to you. Chloe?
They are useful because we can't see the specific data. We don't see which correspond. We don't see if medians correspond to that. We don't see. We don't actually get to see the data.
Okay, one problem with any box and whisker is we don't see the exact data points. You're right, that's always a problem with box and whisker. We've already talked. Patrick?
Yeah, it is actually kind of helpful because like the smaller a quartile section, the more compact like the answers are in there, or like the
Okay, so you know that this section is really tight and close together. I agree. So let's say there's a car right here. Where's that car over here?
it should be right in the same spot.
Should it?
Because like the price,
Amelia?
they're two different plots for like two different things to answer. You don't know like tell that exact car is like the one that's like 50 or.
Yeah,
You
and
can't see them match
it's
up.
actually almost the opposite. Because funny to what you guys said, of should it be in the same spot, and I forget if it was Connor or Patrick or who. According to what Nate said, a car with less miles should be more. Why aren't you giving me arrow? Should be more expensive. It should be up here. So a car that's down here should be, according to what Nate said, should be up here. But where? We don't know. Guys, this is silly. This is pointless. But, hey, thank you. I'm glad somebody got it. This is pointless. What makes a lot more sense and has a lot more points is using an XY axis. Why does this make more sense than using box and whisker plots? Patrick?
Oh.
I'm just using the deck, man. You what? It gives us exact values, and Max is not here. Other Max. Renault? By the way, I liked your Christmas card. It was very funny. I wanted to make sure I said that. Renault gave me a Christmas card that said fa, and then it had law, but to the 8th power. Fa la 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 la. So thank you, Renault. I laughed at that. I appreciated it. All right. So what else here? It gives us exact numbers, and you can always pass, but why else is this more beneficial?
Because it's not just like more points, it has like all the
It has all the what?
all the data, all the points, not just
I'm going to give even more words to what you said. It uses both labels at the same time.
Wait, what?
1 point on this graph goes to both labels that we have. So, if we look at the points on our graph, we can analyze for trends and what we really care about, which is association. Talk with your team, probably only for like 30 seconds. Does it look like there's an association here?
No.
Talk with your team.
No.
What's up? Do you want me to just give you a binder?
It's like we got like 2 hours.
This big, so it's bigger than the one you've been using. It's bigger than the one you've been using because if you compare ring size, look at the ring size of that compared to the ring size there.
Yeah.
No, it's like a boat. It's like a boat. It's going down.
Here's the next thing. Do not hold these apart here, which is the temptation. Use the tabs. You can push them back together on your own. Use the tabs to open. The reason these bend is when you pull on one, you're using one to pull open
But it's
all
not always
three,
right.
and you're taking the force on just one of them, which will eventually bend. You gotta open them using the tabs.
That was what happened on my mind because it had so much stuff that it stopped.
I've been in middle school almost as long as you've been alive. Just trust me. Use the tabs.
I don't like it.
Okay,
Why?
what?
I don't want it.
You had another question.
I lost it.
Nope. Because that is misleading. So you can draw a line, but only one line that has to be straight the entire time through. So we're not going to be able to hit every point. But actually, I'm going to use what you just did as an example.
So use that one. Yeah, these do follow up.
So Max has taken it on as a personal mission to help us avoid trap doors, and I very much appreciate that.
Yes,
So,
I do that by calling things
so Max wants us to be aware that if we're asked to draw a line here, there's a sillier option and there's a better option. So if you act like this is a connect the dots, which I love a good connect the dots, and then a color by number, love those. This is not that. If we are looking for trends, we want to try to relate like, okay, so there's an association that if this happens, then that happens. Guys, so much of math is if-then statements. Do you know what an if-then statement is called? It starts with a C. And if, so like your parents might say, if you get all A's, then we'll go to ice cream. Spencer? Close. It's one word, actually. Colin?
Component?
Nah, Anna?
Is it like cause and effect?
Nah, that's exactly what Spencer said.
Oh,
Brenda?
Compromise.
Nah.
count.
Wait. Friends? A clause?
Conditional. So in math, there are a lot of conditional statements, like if a shape has 3 sides, it is a
Triangle.
right. So that's like conditional, right? But if a shape has 4 sides, then it is a square. That's not true. So Amelia, can you make a conditional statement that talks about the association here?
If the car has more miles, it is less money.
If the car has more miles, then it is less money.
False. That's not always true.
But according to the data that we have, because I don't give a crap about every other situation in the world, according to the data we have, would that conditional seem fairly accurate?
Or if the car has less miles, it's more.
If the car has less miles, then it's more money.
We love our monies here.
You save up for that. See, I'm saving up money. I kind of, they have the homework, and it uses these wonderful words called positive association, negative association, or no association. So, I'm thinking that's what you were asking. So I think it's a negative association? Or, because it's going downward?
A wonderful segue to where we're going. But we got another vocab word to talk about first.
Oh.
Now, you've probably already heard this in science, so this is likely not new, and we can get to what Anna's talking about real quick. You can write it on this paper, or you can write it on your graph paper, or sorry, you're on graph paper, so my bad. Write down line of, oh, maybe you haven't done this in science. Line of,
No spoilers. So we can't win this. No spoilers.
the line of best fit is a line that is trying to follow your data and have equal points on top and bottom. Sometimes the line of best fit is absolutely useless. Like, we can draw it and then be like, oh, well, that's garbage. It does nothing for us.
So like a graph that has dots.
Well, we'll look at the different situations. So here, the point of a line of best fit is to balance equal points above and below the line. So just look up here for a second. If I take my ruler, and I'm going to stand it up so you guys can kind of see all the points, and I draw from that point to that point, do I have equal amounts of points above and below the line?
No.
No. If I go from my first point to my second point, is that equal amounts of... No, and guys, I actually don't have to start with my top point. My first point, I don't have to connect with that. So I'm trying to find a line that balances out, and we said there's 9 points here, so we want like 4 below the line and 4 above the line. So there are 2 points out at the end. Right, so if I do like, ooh, and I'm on one of the, this looks pretty good right here. So on your paper, Jake, I'm going to start counting the amount of times that you talk over top of me. On your paper, draw what you think to be the best line of best fit. It's not really right and wrong here, guys. It's like what you think to be. There's a mathematical way to calculate it, but we'll get there. We're not there yet. Yeah. So our X column was the odometer reading. So this was the number of miles. You might have accidentally switched points around, like X with Y. You might have. Yeah, so we had miles and money. So like 99,000 miles. Like guys, this is like my car. My car has 103,000 miles on it. It's got more than 99,000. I could probably get between 10 and 13,000 for it if I go and sell it right now. But the problem is the truck I want to buy is like $30,000 because guess how many miles it has? None, because it's new.
We like the new trucks here.
So, the line of best fit then has either positive, negative, or no association.
Do you actually want to buy a truck?
I do. Toyota Tacoma.
My dad wants the Tesla Cybertruck. He's gonna sell his little Prius.
Aren't they making like a Tesla Cybertruck into a building?
They should make like.
Give me your eyes, because this is where middle schoolers like to argue silly things. Well, not all of you. I shouldn't make generalizations like that. So, here's what I mean. When you have a bunch of data points, could I draw a line that has 4 above and 4 below and goes through 1 that goes like this? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. At least I think, unless I'm missing a point.
Oh, the one above that 50. The one above that 50.
It's the other one.
But your line also must follow the trend of the data. So you can't just be all like, oh, well, he said balance the points, ha 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 ha. I'm going to do this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. I think I missed one of my points. But so no, you can't do that, right? We got to follow the data.
You didn't miss one, it's just up higher.
Oh, yeah, it's off my screen. So, if I come here, I could, I'm going to use highlighter for this so you can kind of see through the highlighter. I could do this. But is that what my data looks like it's doing? No, my data looks like it's going up. Right? So if I try to follow that general pattern and try to hit some of the points and balance out above and below, what does that look like it's doing? Well, as x goes up, y goes up. That's what we call positive association. I know I'm going fast. We're running out of time. What does my data look like it's doing? Well, while x goes up, y is going down. So this would be a negative association. But then, as x goes... Guys, this could be like temperature on days in December. Right? Like, or it could be like, I don't know how many miles I walked each day over break or something. Like, does it look like there's an association here? No, not really. So this, I could maybe argue. Oh, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Like, no, it does not look like there's association here, right? So please fight the middle school urge of saying, well, you see. And then this actually does tell us something. That y is staying fairly consistent regardless of what x is doing. So maybe this is like I'm tracking like some sort of like rainfall or something that like, well, the day doesn't really matter. The same sort of thing is relatively happening each day. Brenda? I was looking for, does it say it right here? So, is y... So hold up. Hey, stop packing up. I still got a couple minutes. What we're asking when we're looking for association is what's happening with y as x increases. Is that, well, something's happening, but is it like a pattern I can follow? Not really. It's up, down, whatever. Here, same thing. It's all really random and chaotic. No association. Yeah, so that's what we say is there's no association. Jake?
For triple I, if this is like me walking, take amount of feet I walked over break.
one day you like walked over to a friend's house and stuff, and the next day you sat at home, did nothing. Like the next day you just.
No, I walked to the kitchen and to the dining room table.
How many feet I've stepped
Upstairs,
on?
maybe downstairs.
It's how many feet I've stepped on.
Yeah, that's a good stopping point. Get it?
One day I
Stopping
went to, like, a
point.
2 mile walk the other day.
Oh,